Hi, this is Jen Snyder Gibson, and we're coming to you live from the Brand Builder Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina with the Breakfast Club Beat. Charlotte is buzzing with golf with the PGA Championship right around the corner. And who else to have with us today but the Executive Director of the First Tee of Greater Charlotte, Daniel Fogerty.
Thanks for having me. It's always good to be in the Brand Builders studio. This is such a cool place, and it's always great to chat with you.
I know you're you're a professional coming in this building. You're here quite often, huh?
Hang out here regularly.
You're always getting swag.
Between the swag and the studio.
Yeah,
you
right?
You can't help but come here.
Nice. Well, I figured with the golf tournament right around the corner, we had to talk.
Well, it's it's not very often you get to, as a city, host something this large. So to have a major championship here in town, coming off the heels of, golf is just going to be so much bigger, I think, this time around. Coming off the heels of the Masters with what happened between Bryson and Rory, hopefully we see more of that here in Charlotte. But I think we are just set for an unbelievable experience. I was out at Quail yesterday. The place is phenomenal. The build is huge. I think it's the largest build PGA has ever done.
Wow.
And it is enormous. Like everywhere you go, it's just going to be incredible.
Well, do we go ahead? You share our big news that we're doing to tie into the tournament next week?
Yeah, I think this is the coolest thing. I guess I'm probably a little biased on this from a standpoint that getting to be a part of that with Piedmont Natural Gas, First Tee, and do Breakfast Club all in the same thing. But to have Bryson DeChambeau as a part of the breakfast, he's a major. He won the U.S. Open last year in Pinehurst, so he's got some steam here in North Carolina, and I hope that he has a great week. But it's really exciting to be able to have him as a guest at the breakfast, but then also to have the number of kids that we're going to be able to bring.
Oh, I know.
To the breakfast is going to be awesome.
Yeah. So for our listeners that are getting a chance to hear this before the tournament actually takes place, this is the first time ever that Bryson has committed to a speaking engagement during a majors week. This is so exciting. I've been counting this down on my calendar for months. I cannot wait.
Well, and just the way this whole thing happened, it was back October, November last year.
October.
And we were texting one day, and you're like, who should we look at? And we threw a bunch of names around, and I was like, well, the one that would be awesome, but there's really no chance. And we talked about Bryson, and you said, if you can get me a number. So I started texting people to try to get Bryson's number. Best I could get was an agent. You started doing the Jen magic, and next thing you know, you're like, I think he might actually do this.
Yeah, it was amazing when I finally got the green light. I was like, wow.
And we went back and forth. Like, it was almost a little bit of like Days of Our Lives, just the text thread between us of, I think he's going to do it, maybe, but now his agent's busy and Bryson's busy. And by the time we finally got to it, it was one of those, it was like, this is going to be huge.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I love about this? He said yes because of the First Tee. And what we have committed to him with 50 First Tee kids coming to this event and all the fun pixie dust magic that we are going to throw up in the sky next Tuesday with all of those kids and what they're going to be doing with Bryson. Oh my gosh, my heart can't. I'm like so excited. It's going to be amazing to see.
And the kids are so excited. We had a massive response. Obviously, if we're going, hey, we're going to take 50 kids, how are we going to whittle down the 50? We've got 2,500 kids in programming. How do we break this down to figure out which 50 they are? And we started looking at kids over a certain age, and then they had to write an essay, and they had to serve, and they had to do all these different things in order to make it to that 50. So when they show up, it's not like they just walked in and were like, yeah, I want to do this. This is cool. They've put in effort because of the value they see in it. And, I think the great thing about Bryson, we've seen a real shift in who he is or how he handles himself both on and off the course over the last 3 or 4 years. And as we see all that he does. He's huge on the golf course. Granted, he's playing live now, not PGA Tour, and that's a whole thing, but he's continued to make himself more and more available to fans. And he does that through YouTube. He does it through just, even the stories coming out of his time in Augusta.
Yeah.
He was walking down the street just finding people and putting in their backyard with random fans.
I love that.
And so I think he's really looking at a whole different level of how he interacts with people and almost taking it back to a little bit of nod to how Arnold Palmer treated people. Every interaction he had, he made sure you knew that you were the only thing he was caring about at that point. And you hear those stories day in and day out about anywhere Bryson goes, he's doing that with fans. And that wasn't necessarily the way he was 4 years ago. And I'm excited to hear just what he's really done in his own life to change some of those things, because I'm looking at it going, I could probably learn from some of those things.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be also very exciting that one of our first tee kids is going to get to intro Bryson. And I believe that person doesn't even know yet that they're the winner, right?
So she actually found out, and that all happened here just recently.
Okay.
It was one of those moments where it was like, holy cow, I'm going to get to do this. And the squealing and screaming. Her name's Alexis. She's an unbelievable kid. Just could not be prouder of all that she's accomplished. And just the type of human being that she is. And to see that in our kids day in and day out, watching we exist to teach character. Right?
Oh, I love that line. Yes.
Yes, golf is a game that we play. We love the game, but golf can expose who you are real fast. And so using that game to teach character and life skills, whether we're in the school system or at our facilities, and then to see it in practice. The kids, they come in, they learn, and they take it with them. And then you see how it impacts and affects them as they go on into life, whether they're 15, 16, 17, or as they've graduated high school and they're now in college, or they're starting their first job. To get those reports back, I just love watching how the kids can develop, and they take the nuggets. Granted, I don't believe that we're so important that we're the only person involved in that kid's life that makes that transition. But we believe deeply that if we, they always say that no significant change happens without significant relationships. And when we're able to take that and create these relationships with kids and work through, whether it be mentorship or just golf time on the golf course, to work through that and then see them begin to have that life change and become people that you go, okay, I'm not so worried about the world anymore, because there are some good kids coming along that are going to take the torch and run with it.
Yeah. I love that line. We exist to teach character. You guys have that on your T-shirts?
No, but we probably will after this.
Yeah, you need to have that on the T-shirts.
Can we get that from Brand Builders? Can they do a T-shirt
Scott,
for us?
Brian, we got a new project for you. Let's see. You and I need to roll it back here for a sec. We've known each other for close to 20 years.
It's like 17 or 18, yeah.
Yeah. And you were with Beds for Kids.
Right.
And I was donating a bunch of stuff to Beds for Kids.
Came to pick up furniture from your house.
That's right. You absolutely did.
And we got to talking, and you were telling me all about everything going on in your world, and I was telling you about mine, and have been friends ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, how long have you been with First Tee?
5 years.
5 years. I am such a First Tee fan. We've been fortunate enough in our Breakfast Club family to have First Tee with us for, probably, I know over 10 years, probably close to 15. And it's been such a joy to see you be a part of these kids' lives. We bring First Tee Kids out every May to tie in to what the Wells Fargo Championship, and now, we've done, what was the tournament? 2 tournaments ago.
President's Cup.
Yeah, President's Cup. Thank you very much. That's really bad that I forgot the name of that there for a minute. And then, that's terrible. And then PGA, and then Truist. I mean, it's so great to see our kids get involved. They're always a part of the expo and having people come up and play a little golf with them.
Well, that's been one of the things, like, I enjoy and appreciate the the Breakfast Club members and the way they interact with our kids. Whether one of our kids is holding the door or they're walking them through a putting game in the expo, to see the way that they interact. And I think sometimes you end up as an adult, you see kids that are in places that you just kind of, this may sound bad and whatever, I get in trouble for that a lot of times, but like you whether you pity them or you don't really speak to them with respect, and not intentionally, but as adults sometimes we'll be like, oh, it's great to have you here, and you just kind of keep moving. But to see how the Breakfast Club members engage with our kids and stop and shake hands, and they're kind of taken back when, because the first tee kid's going to walk in a building, their hat's coming off, they're going to look you in the eye, they're going to shake your hand, and those are all things we practice regularly in the middle of our classes. And so it's fun, and I appreciate how the Breakfast Club community has received our kids, because it makes them go, oh, this is really awesome. And I think we've actually got a couple that are first tee graduate kids that are doing internships with a couple of Hood Hargett companies this summer. So
Nice.
Just kind of having that come full circle is fun for me.
Well, it's been fun too when we're able to bring a golfer in and we're out on the course at Carmel, and the kids are putting on the 18th with Nick Faldo or Ian Baker Finch. That's just so fun to watch.
Well, and we had Marcus Freeman was a young man that was out on the putting green when Davis Love came in.
Yes.
And fast forward 3 years, last year, one of the things that First Tee partners in is the Pure Insurance Championship. And so it takes place at Pebble Beach. It's a senior event, and Marcus was paired with Davis. So it's an amateur, a pro-am type event, and there's a First Tee participant in every group. And they do a ton of work, and they have to have the game as well. But Marcus gets paired with Davis.
Wow.
And Davis remembers him.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Marcus just said, we met in Charlotte, and he was like, yeah, and it was just one of those like really cool moments for Marcus and Davis, and they played together, and I think they made the cut, but they didn't place too well. Davis actually was one that didn't have the greatest day that day.
Oh, way to go, Davis.
Marcus played well, but
how many kids are in the First Tee program in Charlotte?
So we've got about 2,500 unique kids. If you look at total registrations throughout the year, so we run spring, summer, winter, fall, or fall, winter class schedules. You end up total registrations is about 5,500 or so. And so those kids will, they'll register for a spring and a summer or a spring and a fall type class. But then we're also in a little over 200 elementary schools in CMS and school districts surrounding Charlotte that it's an accredited PE curriculum. So the First Tee 9 core values are taught inside of the public schools in that PE setting. And then those kids are able to come out to one of our facilities and do a field trip where they get to actually come out onto green grass. And there's, those are where you see that first time exposure to the game. They've played putt-putt, but they've never actually hit a golf ball on a driving range or seen a golf course.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. How does the school system correlate into the summer camp program that you guys have? Because I know that's a huge part of what you guys do as well.
So we have a lot of kids that do make that transition from whether it be a public school or, we program at the YMCAs, we program with Boys and Girls Club, we program with different groups that they're then able to come in and join in the summer camp program. So we have a lot of crossover there.
And when the kids are in summer camp, is it typically for 1 week, or are they out there for the whole summer?
They're week-long sessions. Yeah.
Okay. And how many kids do you expect to have this summer?
I think registration right now it's like 900, but
great.
we'll probably end up somewhere in the 1,250 to 1,300 range.
Wow, that's fantastic. So what are some of the biggest needs that the Charlotte business community could help you out with for summer camps that are coming up?
So I think that there's a couple of things like need-based that you can look at, and some of them are the one-off that can happen inside of summer camp or some of our field trips. If you are in an office that likes to volunteer and you enjoy golf, you can join in and bring a group of 8, 10, 12 people to come volunteer for one of our field trips. And so it's kind of, I call it like the gateway volunteer service into First Tee. It's an easy way to get in, see the game, see how we do everything, get exposure, and then you're back in the office in 3 hours. But you've interacted with kids from all over the community and really seen firsthand how the program works. From there, you kind of take that next step up to where you can volunteer in some of our classes or any of our classes. And we offer typically like a spring season that we're just finishing up. I think we had 89 different class offerings.
Wow.
So there's something for everybody that if you can say, hey, I'll give you an hour for 8 weeks, I can go be a part. And with that, that's not like you have to fully understand the mechanics of the golf swing and understand weight distribution and where to turn and, all of that. I need you to be able to say, I love the game and I love people, and you wear a smile and you're a great volunteer. And in that, you start to build those relationships because the relationships are what matter. Then there's that next step that you go beyond, hey, I'm good for 8 hours total over 8 weeks, to say, I want to step into a mentor role. And those we ask that you do a minimum of 2 hours. We do some crazy matchmaking, if you will, to find, all of the skill sets, core strengths of the mentors and what the interests are of the mentees. And we pair them. We have monthly mentor-mentee outings. We do everything from, exposure to how to apply for college to we do job training stuff, different types of career exposures, all the different ways that we're trying to build opportunities for our kids to say, hey, here's what I want to do in life. And 99.99999% of them will not have a career in golf. The world doesn't need more golfers. We need better people, and that's what we do, kind of thing.
Yep.
And so we need mentors to step in, especially females. We've got mentor-mentee pairs that are now like, we've got a female mentor and she's paired with 5 female mentees because we don't have enough women that are willing to mentor.
Oh, wow.
And so we've got lots of needs there.
Oh, that's really good to know.
And so that's a way people can jump in and get involved, that just saying, hey, we want to really step in, and that takes you to a different level of connection and relationship, that you're actually seeing that long-term growth. And what we look at really with the mentor program is knowing that you may go, man, I'm paired with this 15-year-old kid, and right now he doesn't talk that much, or she talks so much that it's not something that you go, man, did this really make a huge impact right now? And we've been running this program almost 4 years now, and we're starting to see that first wave of kids going to college and mentors saying, hey, I got a call the other day. He was in a tough spot, wasn't sure what he could call his parents and have the conversation, so he called me. And we're actually seeing that those relationships are having long-term value for the mentor and the mentee to really start to change and make sure that they stay inside the guide rails or the guardrails of life, and we all need that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have several men and women in my life that I talk to regularly just to bounce things off and have that mentor-mentee relationship. Yeah. And it's so easy to not pay attention to those types of relationships in our life. And we call it our go-to team. So who's on your go-to team? Are you a go-to person for others? And what does that look like? So you show me your friends, I'll show you your future type of scenario. And we make sure that those kids are paired well and they're ready to help others and be that same go-to person for someone else.
Sure. So for next week with the PGA Championship, how many of your kids will be getting to go out sometime during the week to experience it?
We'll have kids here and there throughout the week. It'll be a fun week of golf for everybody. It's just one of those that, you have such a huge event in your town, and if you're a golf fan, it's like this is the Mecca,
right?
And it'll if you didn't go to the PGA Championship in 2017, or didn't this would be much different than President's Cup as well. But if you didn't go to either of those major events, you're going to walk onto Quail and be like, I didn't understand it was that big in comparison to what normally happens historically with the Wells Fargo Championship.
Thank you for your heart for children and your commitment to literally thousands of kids in our community. This is really awesome. If you get a chance to listen to our podcast or watch us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're having a lot of fun, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.